Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Recognize that all board members are present. First item on the agenda is adopt the agenda. We do have an addendum of personnel. So I'd accept a motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Motion by Lou. Second by David. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Item 3.0 is a budget hearing. Anyone here to ask questions or express concerns for the budget as was published in the Spartan Sun? Seeing none, hearing none, I would request that we have a motion to adopt the agenda as published.
Adopt the budget as published?
Yes, yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Joanne to approve the budget as published. Any questions or concerns? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Item 4.0 is to approve the minutes for the July 20th, the July 24th, and the August 4th meetings. Any corrections or additions? If not,
I move that we accept all three sets of minutes.
thank you. Motion by Olivia.
Second.
Second by David. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. Item 5.0 is consideration of bills and warrants. Hope everyone has had an opportunity to look those over. Any questions?
I've got one question. On page 21, what's the hover cam used for?
Page 21 of the bills and warrants.
I wasn't questioning cost, I just want to know what it's used for.
And that may be something that I'll have to get that information to you. I don't know right off the top of my head what the, okay, so is it on page 21 of the packet or page 21 of the bills and warrants?
On page 8. It's on page 8 of the warrant.
Page 8 of the warrants, thanks, Olivia.
21 of the packet, 8 of the warrants. Yeah.
Sorry.
And that is Kansas City Audiovisual, the Tech Cover Cam Solo Spark. I'll have to check and get back with you. I wasn't able to catch you today when I texted or called, so I will put that information, give it up to you.
Any other questions? Accept the motion to approve the bills and warrants as published.
So moved.
Motion by Joanne. Okay,
Oh, Jonathan, do you have that? Thank you for being Johnny on the spot.
The hover cam was all the new document cameras that we had to purchase this year for all three of the grade schools.
Okay,
For what?
The new document cameras for the Elmos, the current ones that we had last year no longer functioned, so we had to repurchase all new
Right, so
systems.
It's not a drone-like machine.
It's the document camera, so the teachers could project the documents in front of the classroom.
Okay,
thank you.
Yep.
thanks.
thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion from Joanne, and I need a second, please.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. 6.0, hearing requests and suggestions from citizens. Have anyone present? Seeing none, we'll move forward to a report from the superintendent.
All right, so today was the first day back for teachers, and we spent the morning at Marvel Park doing our first day of school introductions, welcome back, all the reviewing for the procedures, the plans, the processes, and those kinds of things for our learning plan as well as COVID requirements is moving forward. The afternoon was spent in the buildings, and so then principals went over the building-specific operational type of things. Let's see, we did take a first day of school picture with a drone on the field. We look about this tall. All right, so tomorrow we have professional development via Zoom, and it's with Rebecca Lewis-Pankratz. She's from ESDAC, she's been here before. Tomorrow she's going to talk about resilience building, connections activities, co-care, some restorative circles, and how to do that online, which is a little bit different. So we'll do 3 hours of that in the morning with her, We'll have a break for lunch, and Commercial Bank has purchased Chicken Annie's chicken dinners for everyone at lunchtime, which we appreciate that. And then the afternoon will be spent with 3 more hours of professional development with Rebecca. So we're looking forward to that. On Wednesday, the day will be spent with building, in the buildings, doing building and operational meetings, learning plan meetings, possibly some tech training, depends on what different building needs. And we also will have microaggressions training at the high school. So each of the different buildings will come and visit the high school for an hour and 15 minutes of training. And so in your packet, I went ahead and included that PowerPoint from Danica Moore. She is the equity coordinator and facilitator in Lawrence Public Schools. So we're really looking forward to that. Be some good information, and it's very small, but it's there. So that's Wednesday. Now, we've got one session, starts at 8 o'clock, so from 8 to 9:15, the high school group will be there, from 9:30 to 10:45, middle school, 11 to 12:15, Lincoln, 12:45 to 2 o'clock, Guthridge, and 2:15 to 3:30, Garfield group. So if you have an hour and 15 minutes and you want to join, please feel free to drop in one of those times. We're going to all use the south door, the end, to get into the cafeteria.
Would you say those times again, Lori?
Sure. The first one is from 8 to 9:15, and then we're from 9:30 to 10:45, and 11 to 12:15, and then a 12:45 to 2, and then a 2:15 to 3:30. So if you've got some time and could do that, I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good training. We're giving 15 minutes of time in between each group so we can make sure that we sanitize properly before the next group comes. All right, enrollment updates. Okay, I have good things to report. About 91% of our students have enrolled. So right now that number is 1244. That's what it was this morning at 9 o'clock. So that's looking good. Now, here's where we're having some numbers are kind of mismatching. Some kids are enrolled in school, but they haven't selected their learning plan. And then others have selected their learning plan, but haven't finished the enrollment. So we're working through that. Our building secretaries are doing a good job. They're calling. I know principals have called, made home visits, and have taken computers and have taken hotspots so a parent can fill it out right then if they're not able to get into the building. So looks like right now, district-wide, about 70 to 75% of our parents are selecting a face-to-face option. 25% are selecting remote, and right about 5% virtual. So that's kind of where we're at as of right now. So as a part of that enrollment, we've let people know that we aren't going to offer the before school or after school daycare as we've done in the past, simply because that's children from every different school, all in one school. It's a lot of cross. So we're not going to have we are going to have daycare with our preschool kids during the day. And so that's already out. Let's see. As far as school getting ready to start and that enrollment, if parents haven't enrolled, please contact the school office. We'll try to contact you. On the first day of school, we aren't going to be able to have parents just show up. So parents need to know that's not going to be an option to just show up. They can call and we can come out and help them, but we can't just have kids coming in. So our elementary buildings, middle school, high school, the doors are going to open in each of those buildings at 7:50 in the morning, right now, with school starting at 8 o'clock. In our elementary buildings, the doors will open at 8 in the morning, and then school starts at 8:10, because all the food is going to be grab and go, so the breakfast, they'll just take it and eat it in their classroom. That's what it looks like tentatively, right now. So, another update, I did get a call last week from a gentleman who's interested in Washington School and to buy, rent, or take the building. So I need some kind of general consensus to whether, to move forward with that and to what option to offer. So
Do we get any feedback from the facilities group that came and inspected the building?
We haven't officially had that meeting yet, so we'll need to do that. We had it scheduled and then it got messed up on someone's calendar, and
Right.
So we could do that. I think we've got time to do that next week to see.
Because I would like to see what their
Okay,
interpretation of the status of the building is.
it's a good idea. I'm pretty sure, I mean, everything's wrapped in asbestos, right, Roger? All those pipes downstairs?
Yes, but the floor tile still
Okay.
has asbestos. I mean, you still have asbestos, you know, all the tunnels, everything's wrapped as far as we know, except for some, when they were having the haunted house in there. There were some problems then,
Right,
drilling through floors and et cetera.
and things like that. Okay. Well, I'll send something out to set up a meeting next week. Will that work? For our facilities
Depends on when, yeah.
to review. Send me some dates. And we should be able to do that. And then, because I've got someone who'd like to, at first, he said, we just like to buy it. And then he said, well, wait, maybe just rent it. Maybe just rent part of it. I think he wants to use, it's a church, and he'd like to use part of the gym and that area.
I don't know what you're gonna do for bathrooms, who's gonna be responsible. That entails a whole different things. Those bathrooms have been torn up. Does he know what it looks like?
He says he's been in there. He said he'd been in there since the haunted house, so I don't, but I think renting it would be really difficult. I don't know how we could get it up to code and with bathrooms.
Well, if they want to do the work, I guess they
Right.
rent, they do, but I'm not for giving it away and I'm not for selling it, so that's my proposed.
What are you for doing? What would you like to see done with it?
What would I like to see done?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see revamp part of it if possible. Open up some, but I know we can use it for storage, and we have, and I think we still are, correct?
We are.
But as far as the property, I mean, once you get rid of it, it's gone forever. And who knows what our future might hold, but it sits right in the middle of the fourth ward. Now, if we have to, we may have to tear it down and keep the property, but I don't know. Right now, it's,
Well, and on the facilities team, we talked about finding out how much an abatement would cost and then budgeting that over the next few years if that was something the board was interested in. Somebody brought that up on the facilities team.
but as far as the boilers, they're all covered in asbestos, but everything's okay as long as nobody messes with it. It's all okay, but it's just one of those things.
Well,
So we'll see what the report comes out, and you all take a look at it, and bring this back another time then.
okay, that work? All right, and the last thing is September the 7th is Labor Day, and September the 8th is the first day of school.
Thank you.
What about an updated calendar?
We do have an updated calendar. It's in my box. Do you have it? Yeah. And so the school would start on the 8th, then students' last day would be the 28th of May, and teachers would come back on June the 1st.
Okay, is that no spring break, none of that stuff?
No, we would still have all of those breaks.
Oh, you do, okay.
We would. Students would just go through the 28th, and then June the 1st would be the teacher's last day. And that, of course, is assuming we don't have any weather days. And hopefully, if we did, we would know ahead of time so we could tell everyone to take their device and we were going to remote. But
So is that the same number of days as the original calendar?
yes, it is.
Aren't some schools doing away with spring break that you know of?
Well, university, right? And do away with spring break.
I just wondered about the others, because it was a good idea to go. Of course, who knows where we'll be then? I just
Right.
was curious.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. With that.
Anything else? 8.0 is the Tri-County Board Report. We had a special meeting on the 3rd of August, and it was simply to adopt a new calendar for the Tri-County Educational Center because they followed the independent school calendar and they had to readjust it. And our regular meeting was pretty short. We did adopt the budget for the co-op, which is a very big item. We approved, hopefully, the sale of the building there in Independence that we thought we had sold last year. That fell through. We have another contract supposed to be signed next week. And then we had some personnel issues, hired a personnel. That's basically it this time. Pretty short meeting. Any questions? Ready for 9.0, the principals. We'll start with our high school principals, Mr. Swanson, Mr. Marcus.
Okay, I will keep it short. Operations and leadership teams are meeting on Wednesday of this week. Our operations, our next task is to talk about how we arrive to school and what that will look like and how we get the kids through. We got the face scanners today. Kind of played around with those a little bit. Have not had time to really delve into what they do, but we'll figure that out. I did want to tell you, Brian West he's on our operations team. He's been at the last couple meetings. It gives us a really good perspective of things that we might not think about. And at the same time, I think he gets to see what we go through with our planning as well. So Brian's been a really good advocate to have on there. Our numbers on the learning options, as of today, we have 251 kids that have filled it out. 192, so that's 76%, are in person. 48 are remote, that's 19%, and 11 are virtual, that's 4%. That virtual number will go down. I talked to a dad on the phone just about 5:15 about virtual versus remote, and he's going to talk to his son. We're probably going to have him go remote instead of virtual. But
I'm sorry, would you repeat those numbers?
Oh, yeah. And do you want the percentages or the raw numbers?
Just the raw numbers.
192 in person, 48 remote, 11 virtual. I expect that to be 49 and 10 tomorrow after that dad calls back. We've called all the kids that have enrolled virtual and said, okay, or the parents, this is what virtual is, this is what remote is. We compare the two. Most of them, after hearing that, go, oh, I think the remote's what we were looking for. So we implemented student and staff screening tools today. This is the first time we did the screening, those questions that you have to ask every day. We're doing it through a Google form. I got it so it sends out automatically in the mornings. I send it to the college algebra students so they can have it filled out, the college comp students so they can have it filled out, and then all our staff every day. And then staff meeting, we didn't get through everything. We had to be out the auditorium because another group was coming in. It's not like we can just go to a different space anymore. So we will pick up on Wednesday. There were lots of questions, and some of them we don't have the answers yet. That's why our operations and leadership teams continue to meet once, if not twice a week. So.
Another question. So I suspect we're going to get more students as time goes on. So they'll be offered those 3 options also?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, if somebody comes in September 15th, they'd be given those 3 options.
And I talked to Brian West in passing at the Remnant Cafe, and he said that your little group that checks the health and the for the COVID pandemic, he said it is really tight. He said it's one of the best that he's seen.
Oh, well, thank you. It's going well. We have a little dissent, but that's good. We want that dissent. We ask tough questions. And in fact, one teacher apologized to me today about a question he asked. And I said, why? You don't owe me an apology. Ask a tough question. We have to have those.
Exactly.
Very good. So, okay, thank you.
Just real quick, since our last meeting, I've met with each individual's fall sport coach. I have their protocols for COVID. If you want me to send those to you digitally, I can. Each coach has come up with their own plan, strictly off the Acacia guidelines. So all our sports started today. There were about 50 kids out at the football field, over 30 in volleyball, and I haven't got a chance to talk to my other coaches yet. So everything's started. 16 in soccer right now.
Work schedules are still working.
Okay. So all the protocols, if you need them, I have them here, or I have them where I can send to you.
Rob, is football, is that about the same number we had last year?
Yeah, pretty close. Maybe a little more.
And volleyball seems higher.
Volleyball's a little higher also, yes.
And soccer's, of course, brand new. So
Right.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah, kids are excited about being out right now because they haven't got to do anything for
Right.
so long. So let's hope it lasts.
Yeah. When we had the Lift-a-thon last week,
Yeah.
Shivey hosted that was really, you could tell the kids were really excited, kept their masks on, and I said to one of them, I said, well, are you ready? And he said, oh, I'm ready for school. I said, but that means you're going to have to wear a mask, they're going to take your temperature, you're going to get something, he said, I'll do whatever, I just want to come to school. So it was fun to see him.
Any other questions for these 2 gentlemen? Thank you. Middle school, Regine and Tyler.
So, and today is Rajan's anniversary.
All right.
And so she gets to go out to dinner, and Tyler is going to do the report.
Oh, Tyler's here alone. All
Yeah,
right.
he's it, yeah.
Hey, guys.
Rajan just asked me to present on what the purpose of today was. And so we brought everybody in, and she was able to demonstrate and model a restorative circle. And so to kind of warm it up, we did some mindful breathing, and then we did a check-in with the staff. And so today's purpose was for Rajan to kind of get a pulse on the building and see what everybody's fears are, and just kind of see what population we're working with. And so, we demonstrated the restorative circle. We discussed our social distancing guidelines and mine and Rajan's non-negotiables, face masks 100% of the time, making sure that we're screening every kid every day, that you're screening yourself at the beginning of every day. And then, that discussion, it was kind of eye-opening the way that everybody opened up and expressed their feelings about this coming school year and their concerns. And so I think that today was productive in that she was able to do a check-in with the staff and get to know them a little bit better. At the end of it, we kind of had an informal mission, and that's that in us opening these buildings, we're taking kind of a calculated risk. There's no way to keep it 100% safe. But there are things that we can control, and that's the safety of the students. We can control our face masks, we can control the social distancing, we can control the operations of the building. And so that's what we're going to focus on, is what we can control, not on the chaos that surrounds every aspect of this. And so that was our first day back with staff.
That's good.
I went to the middle school last week to say hello to Regine, and you guys were at a meeting, and I ended up talking to Diana Queer, and she showed me how the scheduling is a nightmare.
It is.
Yeah.
And what she showed me, she just blew me away. The way things, if there was a kid that was sick and they went to the next period or with the next group, she had it all figured out.
Well, according to the operations, how we track that. So she was using a red dot, and we're walking our way through.
I could not believe it. I said, this is medical science technology that you're using.
And that's what, we're using the state guidelines that we were given. And so what we did was we started with right now, the in-person, our risk is, without getting into the weeds, that's what I wanted to avoid, because everything changes all the time, and I don't want to get quoted right now. Right. But it's like, one of the riskier things is the electives. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we started with. We gave Jessica LaForge COVID, and then we tracked it through the 6th grade according to the rules. And we did that 3 or 4 times, and that's what it looks like is more like those cohorts. They're self-contained, and it looks like an elementary setting. So that's how we're trying to keep the kids safe, so that they're not transferring every hour where we'd have to shut down an entire grade. If we have a contact, we can shut down that cohort with our enrollment, we're looking at cohorts of 13 right now. We can send those 13 kids home safely or put them on remote. And so that way we're not shutting down the entire grade level at once,
Right.
And
It was amazing. It's almost like mini bubbles that you.
It is.
Well, and then whenever the gating criteria came out on Thursday,
right.
Diana and the operations team, myself, and scheduling, myself, Mike, Diana, Rajan, and all the maintenance guys, we're going through it, and we have, whether we're green or yellow, we have a starting point. We have a plan to start with, so that's the only thing we can do right now is prepare. It's so funny how it's gone full circle, because with the new gating criteria, we might be having conversations like what we had in April with building capacity, so it's great. We plan so much, we have a plan for everything.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's been good. They've done a good job.
Anything else?
It was awesome.
Thank you, Tyler.
No problem, guys.
And the elementary, Mr. Freeze, Mr. Russell, and Ms. Gardner.
Okay, so at Lincoln today, we met as a staff, and we met in the gym, and everybody brought their own chair, and we're 6 feet apart. And we talked about operations, and for our grade level, it's how are we all going to use the restroom, and how are we all going to go to recess, and how are we all going to face forward, and lots of passion today. Everybody had great ideas, and but we all were there for the kids. We knew that was the end. That was our end point, was we would just want the kids to learn and want kids to be safe. So we had a lot of good discussions, and we're going to keep having those discussions because they have really good ideas. So
When I went into Lincoln today, when Linda and I went in to deliver the masks in their cafeteria, and I think they had it probably in the other two buildings as well, there's these little blue pieces of tape, there's tape everywhere. Because we're going to do, Michelle Smith here at the high school is going to do some vinyl for arrows because there's hallways, certain ways, other ways. But there were all these little blue X's and everyone, and they were 6 feet apart and everyone had their lawn chair on a blue X.
there's 300 of them throughout the building. We counted them. So
Because she did say today, if I need a dot for everything, is Michelle going to think 300 is too many?
300 is a little too much. I don't know. But anyway, so we had a good day.
So,
Today, Garfield staff met also in the gym, and for 2.5 hours, we went through details about operating information concerning our upcoming year. On Wednesday, the grade level teams will work through more details. I asked we've got 4 first-year teachers in the building, and I asked one of them at the end of the meeting, I said, do you feel more overwhelmed after having heard all this? And she said, no, I actually feel much better about everything now. We have 93% of our incoming students enrolled at Garfield for a total of 182 students. We have 11 second graders and 11 third graders that are wanting to be remote learners. That's 12%. During the meeting this morning, one of the things that I started off with was highlighting our first 3 quarters of last school year and all of our achievements. And then we also discussed the new things that happened to our building over the summer because of Lori and the board making things possible, such as almost our whole interior of our building, our halls and classrooms got painted. We have a new heating and cooling system, and then we got safety pads on our gym walls that we've never had before. So staff was really, really thankful for those things. And then the staff, when the meeting was over, they came up to me and offered to help in any way possible.
And the same things happened at Guthrie's that happened in the other buildings. Also want to thank the board and thank our custodians and maintenance. Lenny in our building, our floors look amazing. Our paint crew, I love that color blue in our offices, so thank you. It's a fresh look. We too went through our operations manual today, all spread out. I liked their idea, so I had our staff, we brought lawn chairs spread out, and had a really good discussion about how we are going to do things safely in our school. If you're listening out there, one of the quick changes, it won't affect our new students, but we're going to change the way students are dropped off. It'll probably help, it will help the trafficking. So the buses will stay where they were and those students will enter through one door, but our 4th and 5th grade kids will be on the south side of the building, going down Briggs, hopefully heading west, and we'll be able to have 4th and 5th graders enter separate doors. So just, those are the kind of things that all our buildings are working on, trying to take a set plan and then have a lot of people talk about it and then get down to the precise details, which when you work with elementary people, they are very detail oriented. So we had a good discussion today. It's funny, our numbers are almost the exact same. We have 12% remote. We have 11 and 4th graders, 11 5th graders that want to be remote. We've made some calls last week and those numbers have come down. Some of the parents had heard there was going to be no busing, so that's why a lot of the parents, well, not a lot, a couple different families had told me they heard there was no busing. So I don't anticipate all 22 of those staying remote. I haven't had a chance to call all them. Tara's really done a good job of tracking people down. We're missing about 14 or 15 students. So we're at about 92% enrollment and we're looking forward to the start.
Thank you. Any questions?
I have, for the kids that are remote, will you decide on a teacher for each grade or?
Our plan right now, if we've got 11 4th graders and 11 5th graders, and just by luck, we've actually had 3 or 4 students on our, what we hope to be our rosters. We try to balance them out to start with. So there's a likelihood kids are going to be gone for some time. Mm-hmm. So we probably all need to be able to remote. So instead of having a class of just remote students, say those 22, 4th and 5th grade, if they choose to come back, that's really going to imbalance our classes. So as of today, we've been thinking that we're better off keeping our very balanced classes and having our teachers engage those remote learners through sections of your morning. So
we haven't had a lot of professional development on how to be a remote teacher, but some of those things that we've looked at is, make sure. I was quarantined for a while, so I had to Zoom with a lot of our admin meetings. And you're kind of a lost kid when you're out there Zooming by yourself. So we talked to our teachers about always try to engage those kids with questioning to make sure, they don't just get lost out there. But that's our plan, and I think it's a good one.
Thank you. And the other two, you'll also be fluid too, or you haven't got there yet?
We're gonna work through details on Wednesday. I've got a couple of teachers willing to be those remote classrooms, but it wouldn't be just those 11. They know that they would have some on-site kids too.
And we're still talking about it, I think.
Yeah.
We've had lots of ideas, and they came up with some really good ideas today about how we can do that. So we're going to run through that.
And how we can best do it.
Right.
And that, of course, is as of today at 6:30.
Right. Thank
We've
you.
noticed
Thank you.
changes.
Okay, moving on to new business. 10.0 is accept the donations. All right, got a couple there, Elodie.
Yeah, and just real quick, I want to let you know, our administrators have done a great job. They've come back and hit the ground running and have got the staff up and going, and I'm super proud of them. Okay, on page 44 of the packet, the donations, there was a donation at the district office, a John and Bonnie Latzer endowment for the robotics program, $2,500. And the high school, Jason and Rebecca Dantic soccer practice uniforms valued at $1,355 for a total school district donations this month of $3,855. I recommend you approve those.
Any questions? Let's have a motion to approve the donations, please.
Move to approve the donations.
Motion by Joanne,
Second.
second by Olivia. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. 10.1, approve the social media policy, which we received back on August the 4th.
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So I was looking at our board policy handbook, and we have an acceptable uses policies, EGA 1, 2, and 3. So is it the intent for this guideline to replace that?
No,
Or what is the intent?
This is specific to social media.
So is EGA.
It's specific to social media, or it's specific to the...
It's specific to, let's put it this way,
Acceptable
there are
use.
parts of it that are specific to technology, yes.
Right.
So my question is,
And I've not read the policy. I mean,
Supplements. This supplements, right?
this supplements the current, this is the social media portion of that.
so are you saying that it's going to become part of this policy?
No,
Well, you just said it's going to supplement
it
it.
supplements it, yes. Which,
So the current acceptable use policy,
Okay, so you need to be careful is all I'm saying, because if you read that acceptable uses policy, it gets confusing when you start reading this.
what in there,
Because
what is,
they don't match up. So we have one board policy, and now this, even though it's a guideline,
So, correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, my recollection of what you're citing refers to technology, not specifically social media. Is that accurate or not?
partially. There's a subsection that refers to social media within the technology. So I'm saying this is pretty specific about social media. So what I'm suggesting is that this may be, it seems like it's going to be a policy.
This is more restrictive, is it not?
yes, it is. It's more
Yes.
explanatory.
Oh, yes.
It's more
However,
restrictive than the sections you cited in our board policy that's overall technology.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I just want to be careful when we do this, but there's one other issue, and it was on a Zoom meeting that we had, Mike, and the attorney said, if we do Zoom meetings with students, if they're recorded, the recordings really shouldn't be used, again, because of FERPA or HIPAA. And there's nothing that addresses that in here that I saw. In other words, you can't you can't,
This is not, Zoom is not social media.
Right.
And so this is specific to social media. And I think that your concern on the Zoom is well taken. example. So let's say that I record one of my sessions that I'm teaching, and I have a couple students that act out, and I don't discipline them, but I have to correct them during that. And then I video recorded that, and then I put out there for other students to see. They've seen that certain students have been corrected or whatever, acted out in my class. I think that's what you were referring to, but I don't think that's social media, the Zoom instruction.
It isn't.
On page 2, it says, comments on website, discussion forums, and any other activity online where you are connecting or commuting with other users. That would also include Zoom. So that's pretty general. What I'm saying is, you might be able to record a teacher's lesson as long as you don't have students that are being Zoomed.
But that's something separate that would need to be addressed, because this is just simply the social media.
Well, I'm saying that is social media, based on what I just read. All I'm saying is, according to what the attorney just told me this morning, you want to address FERPA in her also. That's all I'm saying. And possibly HIPAA, but mostly FERPA, the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So all he has to do is write one more statement in there. If we are Zooming, we will respect the rights found within FERPA. That's all you have to put in there. But as long as every teacher and administrator understands what I just said. Because I had to call him up again because I was confused when he talked about that. I said, that doesn't even make sense, but what does now? Correct me if I'm wrong, did he not?
I missed that one. I had something else come up, and I missed that meeting. I missed that meeting. I wasn't on.
Oh, okay, so I thought you were.
I had signed up, but then something came up. And so are you suggesting maybe that we table this and?
Well, I would until they just.
I think that the clarification is I hear Lou talking, and as I think through this, as a point of clarification, Zoom itself is not social media. If I record something via Zoom and upload that video to social media, that would be included in this policy. But I think our intent, if we were doing any of that in our instruction, is not to upload classroom instruction to social media, but to utilize our district technology, not social media, to do that, to put it in the public domain. My reading of this is more of a public domain social media policy rather than if I utilize Zoom, like you're saying, and then allowing other students via Google Classroom and so forth to access that, which is not social media.
Okay, I'll take that, but along with that, if you're you're a teacher on Facebook, you better not be having pictures of your students on there.
I don't think we're going to be.
teach on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't think we
That's not an
better be
option
teaching
for
on
us.
Facebook.
No, we aren't
Now,
going to do that.
Zoom is another deal, but that's not specifically social media. It is a technology that we utilize that's not specifically social media. Now, I understand your point.
Oh, yeah, we don't
I think we
want
just
to-
need to make sure we clarify,
We aren't going to record things and post
Well,
them.
then you have to distinguish between work hours and after work hours by staff.
Well, no one should, I don't think people are posting on social media during work hours, typically. Right? Does that make sense?
I'm not going to answer that question.
That, I mean, they should
I'm not
be
gonna answer that
engaged in
question.
working. They're not typically posting on social media during work time. That's not.
Okay, so what are our wishes here, folks?
You want to table it, Lou? Is that what you want to do? More clarification?
No, all I'm saying is someplace we need to have the policy about FERPA and Zooming. And hopefully, who's in charge of this?
This was something that Matthew Peak and the tech group
Hopefully
has
Matthew
worked on.
can come up with another, it would have to be a policy
Right, and this isn't a policy, these are just guidelines, so that we.
I understand.
Okay.
That's why I asked, did it replace the
No, it
policy
doesn't,
that
and
we
it,
have?
right, and it says there on the second page that last, it does not replace an existing
It was
policy.
for clarification.
Okay.
So now it's on the table, it's been discussed. And I'm just suggesting that we do have addressed that FERPA issue as well as HIPAA,
Okay.
with Zoom in particular.
Okay, with that in mind, is there a motion to approve this social media guideline?
So moved.
Motion by David. Need a second? Hearing no second, this dies for lack of a motion. I would recommend that we come up with some new
Well, we will be happy to go back and to look at this again. I would really encourage folks, when they get these guidelines or policies, to give us feedback so that we know before the night of a board meeting what might need to be addressed or changed, so that we're able to be proactive, so we don't complete a project and then have to go back and spend, numerous hours redoing the project.
Well, this wouldn't be so bad if there was an incident in Florida where a teacher had a Zoom classroom and one of the kids' parents got murdered while they were being Zoomed.
I did see that, and had I known that this was a concern, that this was something that you wanted to add the FERPA or the HIPAA, then I would have checked with KASB, and it would have been a real quick check, and then we could have addressed it. It would have already been
I just found out
done.
about this morning.
Okay. Yeah, and I texted you today and called you, but wasn't able to get a hold of you this afternoon. So,
Okay, 10.2, approval of the negotiated agreement and the classified staff handbooks. We've got those again on August the 4th. Any questions or concerns about either one of those items? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve them.
I move to approve.
Motion by Jeff,
Second.
second by David. Discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. 10.3 is action on the Grasshopper Lawnmower.
I think James is out there.
Hi, James.
How's it going?
Here.
We was asking for another mower. We got two currently that's running our regular mowing, and when one of them goes down, we're down to one. Summertime is a bad time to get them repaired. We just had our Kubota was gone for about 4 weeks. So we were just killing our other mower. So we thought in addition is to get another Grasshopper, put it on for the football fields, and which would be our activity field, which is we're gaining on now with the soccer coming in. And then we would have the field mower over for the regular mowing, and that would give us an extra mower in the process.
What is the age of our other two mowers that we have?
The Kubota is a 2006, and I believe the Grasshopper is a 2007 or 2008. Then the field mower, I believe it's closer to like a 2012.
So when we get a mower, we use it for a long time.
Usually we
Take
get
good
about
care of
20
it.
years off of a mower. And not saying that our mowers are bad, but as they break down, it just causes an inconvenience or a problem by not having enough mowers out there.
Causes everything to be backed up.
And I believe in our previous discussion, I asked you, you are going to keep the other Grasshopper as a backup, correct?
Yes, actually what I would end up doing is taking the other Grasshopper, put it out on my main run, and then the Kubota will be my backup or the third mower to go out.
And the collection system will work on this new mower?
Yes.
Okay.
So that state bid, that state contract price is $14,718.55 from a local vendor.
And is that, so on the state price, we don't get any cut as such, correct? Other than the state price?
Right.
Well, the original price was 19,000, and they cut it
Yeah.
down to 14, so.
For the state bid. That's on page 45 in your packet.
Any other questions?
I so move, we accept it.
Motion by Roger,
I'll second that.
second by Lou. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Thank you, James. 10.4 is middle school science curriculum.
Okay, so Linda's the curriculum person.
Our science curriculum was adopted in 2013. It was a 7-year series, so it's out. We either have to go back and get another year renewal, or we have to go with the new series. With this online, stuff that is 7 years old is old for a science program. The teachers looked at several things, and they ended up going with what the high school had adopted. So there's going to be some continuity to the system. It is 6 years, but there's no cost for the whole 6 years.
The updates are no cost?
No, there's no update cost for the 6 years.
And so that's a total of $51,725.47.
And you can get this material in timely manner?
Yes, pretty quickly.
Good.
And that covers all grades?
All of the middle school.
All middle school grades?
Yes, we already have new at the high school.
Yeah, I knew that. I just
And
want to
this-
make sure it was all
Yeah, and
6,
since
7, 8.
it's, yeah, since it's the same series, it'll just,
Any other questions for Linda?
I so move.
Motion by Roger, second by Lou. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. 10.5 is an update on Spark.
okay, so this is a different MOU. It's very, very similar. What we had last time was what the county had, what the city had given us, and it was a typical boilerplate state MOU. And our county commissioners wanted a county one, and so they've issued that. This instead, if you go back and compare the two, they're very, very similar. But it has the county commissioners signing of that chairman of that.
Now, does this still have to be approved at the state level, correct?
It does. But I don't see that there'll be any problem with that. Jim Zielinski, we visited, there were different categories that the funds could be used for. And so when we filled out our forms, we made sure that our things met those categories.
But originally, we were going to get more money,
Right.
correct?
That is correct.
But this still covers the 3 nursing personnel that we passed?
It would cover the expenses of that. Now, part of it is that with this, the money has to be spent by December 31st, which would not be a problem. It's a contracted service. We could write a check for the entire amount using these funds. However, now, you know how things change. They have said, well, but the services have to be done by December 31st. And they're still going to be providing services in the spring. However, we have other CARES money, and so you can,
Trade Peter for Paul.
that's exactly right. So,
Okay.
So on the fifth whereas, it says, as of this date, what date are we going to be using for this memorandum of understanding?
it would be today's date, the day that we
All right,
approve
so
it.
then we need to change the 138 reported positive to like 159 and 0 deaths to 1.
Okay, and where's that? Okay,
And then a couple other questions.
Okay.
So workers' comp is not covered by this, correct?
not to my understanding, but again, I've not researched that. That was not our intent to use it in any way for that.
All right, and then according to Parsons' son, Brian Johnson said that any services have to be completed by the end of the year, December 30th,
Right?
and therefore the pay has to be paid before December 30th, correct? So are we going to upfront contracts?
Well, what we can do is, originally it had to be paid for the year, and so that's how we were going to use all of that money. And now what they're saying is, well, but the services have to be provided by December 31st. Well, all the services aren't going to be provided by December 31st, because we'd like for our health aides to be in the building all year long. That's the expectation. So what we'll have to do is take a portion of that money, that spark money, and use it to pay the funds from September to December. And then our CARES money, we can take to pay for January through May.
So they'll have two contracts.
Well, it's really one contract. It'll just be paid out of two different pots.
And so we'll use this money for something else under the guidelines
Okay.
by
And
the end of this calendar year.
That's
Okay.
correct.
They just make it really, like you said, it's all set up for failure
Well,
to get the money back, and that's crazy.
Any other questions? We need a motion to approve this new memorandum of understanding.
So moved.
Motion by Roger, second by Joanne. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. 10.6 is executive session for personnel matters of non-elected personnel, employee-employer negotiations. 20 minutes. Does anybody have anything?
Well, I'd like 5 minutes.
Okay, good.
Give about 5.
Okay, we'll go 30 then. That works.
We take a brief break.
We can take a brief break, yes. Let's take the break and then come back and have the motion for executive session. That way we know what time we have. So
Okay.
about a 5-minute break, work, and then we'll come back and have a motion to go executive session.
she's going
Okay.
on campus one day a week.
Cool.
Now watch it, I got a motion.
Are these on or off?
It's unique,
It's a unique experience.
that's the South Campus.
Yes, I've not been there.
Okay, we are back on the air. We need a motion to go into executive session for 30 minutes, to discuss non-elected personnel and employer-employee negotiations.
Make a motion, we go into executive session, discuss confidential employee information pursuant to non-elected personnel exception or coma, an exception for employer-employee negotiations under coma, at 6:57 for 30 minutes, and we'll return back here at 7:27, this room.
With motion by Jeff, second by Lou to go into executive session for 30 minutes with the board and two administrators present. Back here at 7:27. Any discussion?
Wait a minute, now, if we're gonna talk about Linda's salary, maybe she shouldn't be in here.
Well, we can ask her to leave just as we go
Okay.
through these. Any other discussion? Good point. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carry 7-0. Okay?
be here for 10 more minutes.
Okay,
And then Lori said after that, she wants another 5.
okay.
Okay, so
All
we
right.
need 15 then.
We'll need a 15, right. Motion by Jeff,
Motion by me. Yep.
second by Lou.
Yeah.
Executive session for 15 minutes, it started at 7:28, with the board present,
Back here, 7:43.
7:43.
Yep.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, carries 7-0. All ones.
The way it's listed in the agenda?
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like we're back.
Okay, we're back in session. We're ready for 10.7 is discussion, well, it's for action on administrators and directors' salaries for the 2021 school year. Do I have a motion?
I will make the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Make the motion to increase, this is administrator and directors, increase administrator and director salaries by 2%, with the exception of Mr. Gordon, and his salary will be set at $75,000 even. Additionally, the administrators and the directors will have their annual health benefit increased to a level of $10,000, which doesn't include cash if they do not spend that on health insurance, cash paid to them. This is administrators and directors.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Joanne. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Carries 7-0. Next item is assistant superintendent salary.
I'll make the motion. That is also a 2% raise for the assistant superintendent. Also a $10,000 annual health benefit, which can be paid via cash if not utilized. And then as a matter to clarify, the $10,000 health benefit is also applicable to our superintendent whose salary was already set previously. So she would be subject to that as well.
Thank you. Motion by Jeff. Second? Second by Olivia. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. We are ready for the action on personnel, 10.9. Lori?
All right, so the first recommendation for employment effective this school year would be Barbara Baird as a bus driver. I recommend that you approve Barbara to drive a bus for us.
So moved.
Motion by Joanne,
Second.
second by David. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Resignations?
All right, we've got 2 resignations for employment. Trevor Miserel is the middle school assistant football coach. So he'll still be with us teaching but not coaching effective August the 12th, 2020. And Jane Posh is the high school boys and girls tennis head tennis coach effective August the 14th of 2020. I recommend you approve those resignations.
Have a motion? Motion by David, second by Olivia. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0.
Okay, we have 1 resignation for retirement. Jane Posh, high school business PE teacher, effective December the 21st, 2020. I recommend that you accept that resignation for retirement and waive the $1,500 fee for late.
I move that we accept that resignation with regret.
Thank you, Ms. Lyons.
Second.
Second by Joanne. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carries 7-0. Anything else before the board? Good. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.